a federal building got bombed in Oklahoma City, the Alfred P. Murrah building, and within 5 minutes, Bill Clinton was on national television saying it was the fault of talk radio, conservatives, and libertarians. And, of course, that was a false flag terror attack. The then Deputy Attorney General, Eric Holder, was later implicated, bare minimum, in the cover-up of what really happened there. And most of you, of course, know what that was, a bona fide false flag. We even know the names of the ATF, FBI, CIA, Army, and German intelligence operatives that were there carrying out the event. And we have all the different eyewitnesses who saw them there in the days before with their federal security badges doing telephone work in the stairwells with gray sticks of butter. And the cop of the year exposed it, and they tortured him to death and then killed him. So here's the headline up on Infowars.com. To add insult to injury, the press is out there on the tarmac begging to speak to the Attorney General, who's already embroiled in the cover-up of the Clinton crimes, and for years blocking any type of real criminal investigations of emails, Fast and Furious, Benghazi, the persecution of Christians, her foundation. I mean, they've got their fingers in all of it. And then, oh, here comes the president, the former president, Bill Clinton, Slick Willie, with his Secret Service detail in front of the press, and the FBI orders local ABC News reporters and others to turn your cameras off. So they're involved in the criminal cover-up. You see how much worse the scandal gets by the moment? The FBI blocked journalists from taking videos and pictures outside the secret airport meeting between former President Bill Clinton, Attorney General Loretta Lynch. The former president steps into her plane, and they speak for 30 minutes privately about Bill Clinton's kids, I bet. ABC 15 reporter Christopher Sine said about the Phoenix meeting, the FBI, they're on the tarmac infrastructure, instructing everybody around, no photos, no pictures, no cell phones. And I love how the press just always follows orders. So government's so disconnected, the lapdog media that's allowed in their press corps that gets near the Clintons and the Obamas and their camp followers like Lynch are so controlled historically that they all went along with this for a couple days till it finally started breaking. Imagine being, I mean, if I was on the tarmac, of course, they wouldn't let me on the tarmac near them. Oh, I get such coverage. I get such accessibility. No, I don't. I have to toe their line. I become nothing but a regurgitator of their baloney. That's a nice word for their BS. So let's go ahead and play that clip. ABC 15 reporter on Bill O'Reilly. I'm surprised old Bill's actually going after Hillary. He's been defending her. But you see, now even when this rat leaves the sinking ship, you know they're in trouble. Here it is.
They wait for her to land. She arrives. Some people step off of her plane. The former president steps into her plane. They then speak for 30 minutes privately. The FBI there on the tarmac instructing everybody around, no photos, no pictures, no cell phones. He then gets off the plane, gets on his own plane. He departs. She continues on with her planned visit.
Isn't that incredible? Talk about a mafia meeting. She's waiting. His plane lands. Turn the cameras off. All of you, shut up. Still so arrogant. They think they're going to have a secret meeting in front of the press corps. Probably 50-plus cameras there, they're reporting. Everyone dutifully, oh, yes, sir. Oh, we're feminists, so we're going to do it because she's a woman, and Bill Clinton's so good to women. FBI at Clinton Lynch meeting ordered press blackout. No photos, no video. The video is up on Infowars.com of this valiant member of the press. Because notice, you don't see the others talking about this. They know how to keep their mouths shut. Maybe one day they can be on a jet with Bill Clinton. Oh, boy, doesn't that just sound horrible. Now, let's go back to the clip I played earlier of her at a press conference yesterday. And she says that they just discussed family. And now in another statement I saw her say this morning, she goes, oh, we pretty much just talked about that. So we got to find that video. Problem is there's just so much of this stuff. Oh, that's pretty much all we talked about. Oh, 30 minutes. Oh, let's talk about Chelsea. Let's talk about all this baloney. Oh, sure, you just had this meeting and said turn the cameras off because, no, Everybody knew this was an outrageous, horrible criminal meeting, that it was illegal, that she should recuse herself, that she's been covering up and obstructing justice the whole time, and they thought they could get away with it because all these sycophants sit there and follow their orders. But somebody didn't in the FBI. Somebody didn't in the press corps. Traitors to the tyranny, traitors to the enemies that have taken the nation. Real patriots are starting to speak out and take action. And Donald Trump says he's flabbergasted. That clip's coming up after the break. But first, let's go ahead and go to that clip from her at the press conference.
Was it appropriate for you to meet with former President Clinton while your agency is in the middle of an investigation of his wife's email servers?
Well, I did see the president at the Phoenix airport the other night. As I was landing, he was headed out. He did come over and say hello and speak to my husband and myself and talk about his grandchildren and his travels and things like that. So that was the extent of that. And no discussions were held in any cases or anything of that.
She is so
guilty.
guilty.
He didn't raise anything about that either.
Oh, she just saw him. She just ran into him. She's just there waiting on her plane. Here comes his plane. So that story is conflicting right there. It doesn't matter. It's illegal, period. The press will try to divert off into some little side issue of this. It's illegal, it's arrogant, and it's always hubris that is the downfall of these criminals. Will they now fall? Let's pray for it, because they need to be brought to justice, and all their criminal minions do as well. Because if she gets in, she's never going to let America get back up. It's her job to bring us down. I am so excited, so upset, so awake by how epic the events are that I'm actually sweating on air today, and the air conditioner's not broken. A few days ago, it was not working well, and I was sweating. It's like 70 degrees in here, and I'm actually sweating on air. My heart is actually beating fast because I realize we've got all these powerful forces trying to control the United States. I realize that Hillary Clinton is an admitted communist Chinese agent that sold out our country. I know the Clintons have engaged in so many amazing crimes, and that if she gets into office, she's going for broke. Her attorney general has said she wants to restrict free speech in the Second Amendment. They are openly training the military to confiscate guns and to mass control and blockade cities. We've got Dr. Group coming in with mainstream news and also his sources and my sources documenting that a little bit later in the broadcast. They are going for broke, absolute broke. And this has captured the public's attention. Everyone sees how incredibly obvious this is, that she's been controlling the investigations along with her predecessor, Holder, and even Democrats are saying this is horrible, this is out of control, and it's like a James Bond movie where you get the villain, she lands, and then Clinton lands, and then he comes onto her plane, and they have this meeting, and the Secret Service says, turn your cameras off because it's so guilty. The FBI orders them to turn their cameras off because it's so incredibly guilty. These people think they're gods. And I'll tell you, the desperateness of this, the word is there was going to be some partial recommendations for criminal prosecution coming out. I've been getting that from good sources for a year, but it hadn't happened yet. And the word is it was getting very, very close. There's a lot of pressure back and forth and internal battles going on. And so what would make Clinton desperately set up this meeting and desperately basically board her plane? Turn the cameras off, shut everything down. He boards her plane. Ron Brown said he wasn't going to go along with their corruption. He ended up as Commerce Secretary with a .45 bullet hole in his head. That's what the coroner said. Remember the plane crashed into a mountain? A bunch of people on board have been shot. How you do that is you have commandos on board posing a Secret Service. They put on their oxygen mask, kill everybody, blow the hatch, and parachute out. It's a standard procedure. One of their favorite ways to execute people because the plane crash covers up a lot of the killing. One lady survived the plane crash, though, was in good health, and they took her off to an Army hospital, and she was dead a few minutes later. Was that Macedonia? Right on the border with Serbia? So she knows what happens. She understands what happens when you don't do what your overlords, what the mafia dons tell you to do. So this is an incredible, incredible time to be alive. Let's hear what Donald Trump had to say about this. Because, look, the drumbeat is so strong on Crooked Hillary. I'm telling you, I know the optics. I can feel the energy. I can see it in the press. This is the biggest blow against the Clintons in their decades of crime wave. And if we push this and we don't let the holiday weekend derail us, and we keep this to be the #1 story, and we take control of the meme with Hillary for prison, and we get this information out in the articles and videos at Infowars.com that are going up as we speak right now, and if we take control of the narrative with the truth, there is a very good chance we're going to see the fall of the Clintons, because this has really captured the world's attention. And I've been told by so many high-level people that they are so sick of the Clintons, and everyone is so tired of them, and the fact that they're basically communist Chinese operatives. So let's go ahead and play this clip from Donald Trump. Here is Donald Trump responding.
Loretta Lynch met with Bill Clinton while she potentially is weighing an indictment against his wife. Now, she claims that, she boarded the plane. She was on the plane with Bill Clinton for 30 minutes. They were talking about their grandchildren and sports. Is this an issue where you think the credibility, for example, if a criminal referral comes from the FBI, do you think the Attorney General needs to now recuse herself?
Well, when I first heard that yesterday afternoon, I actually thought they were joking. I thought the people that told me was, I said, no way. It's just no way that's going to happen. And it happened. And I'm flabbergasted by it. I think it's amazing. I've never seen anything like that before.
Hillary Clinton has thrown everything she's got against Donald Trump and the American people. The lies, the spin, the deception. And do you understand, folks? If Hillary Clinton gets into office, I will have a much bigger audience, and my show will grow until she censors it or shuts it down or has me killed. And I was told I was fired from radio jobs on directives of the Clintons. I was told, shut up and stop talking about the Clintons. People that would call and threaten me, and then they came and physically attacked me and said, we told you, shut up about the Clintons. So I have personally experienced it. I've seen the emails where they're talking about going after the press. And before that, in the Clinton Foundation, at their library, Judicial Watch got the documents, so did WorldNet Daily, about how they're going to persecute the press and go after people. And Lynch is running around talking about going after the press today. So this is really an evil, 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 evil group of people. And then today, just about an hour ago, she finished up a little 30-minute talk with a softball question reporter from the Aspen Institute saying, I'll take his recommendation, but I want to know what's going to, what's being done and then what's being planned after that recommendation. So I'm not going to recuse myself, but I'm not involved. But she's admitting she's involved. So it really is an outrageous video. I want to play this clip for folks, and if we can, run a little bit longer than we did last time, because there's some real substance here. This is, again, this has Richard Nixon going, I'm not a crook. I'm not a crook. Or Clinton going, I didn't have sex with that woman, Monica Lewinsky. But this isn't oral sex in the Oral Office. This isn't just lying to a grand jury. This is meeting with the Attorney General, who's been covering your butt while you butcher this country's liberties up one side and down the other, run false flags against the Second Amendment, order stand-downs, create ISIS, arm al-Qaeda, open our borders up outside of law, let people with diseases in, set up all this domestic surveillance of patriots, put Obamacare in to screw us over. Her foundation getting $100+ million from Saudi Arabia, and when they're executing homosexuals and women are slaves. I mean, she's just a giant fraud. What is wrong with so-called feminists? They just want the delusion that she's a woman and you just don't like her because she's a woman. I could care less that Loretta Lynch is a woman or that Hillary is. They're horrible, corrupt people. I can't stand Bill Clinton. He's a horrible person. Obama's horrible. It has nothing to do with the fact that he's part African. This identity politics is killing us. And you know, if Hillary was a man, she'd already be indicted. They use this whole thing, again, that she's a woman. We're going to hear that for 8 years. Oh, it's a woman, so you can't. Let's go ahead and go to the clip of her earlier today. Here it is.
Now, what's interesting here is you say you fully expect to accept the recommendations. One thing people were saying this morning when the news broke